The Olympus Pools nightmare continues here in Tampa Bay as foreclosure warnings are now being sent out to Olympus Pools customers for the subcontractors who remain unpaid for the pool promises at 40-plus homes here in the Tampa Bay area. A live update plus a Better Call Benkin interactive Q&A starts now here on WFLA Now. Hey folks, JB Buno here with you live. Once again with 8 on your side, investigator Shannon Benkin there with you on the right side of your screen. This is a pretty wild update here, and if you are an Olympus Pools customer, this has gone from bad to worse to dramatically worse, and we're going to be talking about these foreclosure warnings that are being sent out to about 40 or so Olympus Pools customers. You can read about this story right now on WFLA.com and the WFLA app. All of Shannon's latest reporting you can read for yourself right there. But let's get over to Shannon here. Shannon, what is the latest with this story?
Well, JB, today I was able to confirm that, as you mentioned, at least 40 of these notices, they're called a notice of intent to foreclose. They're on their way to Bay Area homeowners right now. And I spoke with a Texas-based firm that's a collection company working for these subcontractors. And they tell me that they represent multiple subcontractors in our area. They're working on more of these letters. So if you're an Olympus customer and you have a lien on your home right now, you need to be concerned that you could get one of these letters. Yeah,
so if you are one of these customers, again, these notices, Shannon, they haven't gone out yet. They're in the process of going out. Is that correct?
They're in the mail.
They're in the mail.
They're in the mail. They will arrive via certified mail.
So everyone, just kind of put yourself in the shoes of an Olympus Pool customer that's about to get one of these letters. First and foremost, you basically signed up to get a pool here in your backyard. Again, and if you have a lien on your home, this is all supposed to be work that you were hoping would be done by now. But now you're getting dragged into this mess where the subcontractors, who we're going to talk about them specifically here in just a moment, the subcontractors here, they haven't gotten paid. And now you're getting a notice of foreclosure on your home because those subcontractors, because of Olympus Pools, have gone unpaid. So the subcontractors here just wanting to get their money for the work here from Olympus Pools. And this is a situation, Shannon, that really for these customers now that are about to get these letters in the mail, I mean, you open up this envelope and you're probably in a state of just complete disbelief.
I imagine that I'm going to be getting a lot of calls from some of these customers later in the week. JB, right now, the people who are receiving these letters don't know about it yet. We spoke with this company based in Texas. They tell me these letters are on the way. There's at least 40 of them, but they're working with other subcontractors. And you mentioned subcontractors not getting paid. I want to mention here, it's not all subcontractors. Since we started this work several months ago, Olympus Pools has paid some to subcontractors, and that's why they've been able to keep working, even though the work has been extremely slow and people are complaining that they're still not getting their pools finished, but they have been paying a little here, a little there. But I have spoken with 2 subcontractors recently that tell me that they have not been paid, they're not getting anywhere, and those are the subcontractors that are moving forward right now with these plans to move forward with the intent to foreclose on the liens that they've already filed.
Now, we're in a Shannon Better Call Benkin interactive Q&A here, folks, with Shannon. So if you'd like to ask Shannon a question, or if you just want to make a point, maybe you want to weigh in on the story, maybe you're one of the customers that we're talking about, maybe you have had interactions with Olympus Pools, with James Staton, let us know here in the Facebook Live comment section. You can use hashtag HeyShannon, and we can feature your comments on screen. I already see that we've had some comments come in here in the last several moments. We're going to get to your comments here in just a second. But we also have an interactive poll here. Now, the last time that Shannon and I were live, we were talking about the hundreds of pools that remained unfinished here in the area, about how James, you see him there in the center of your screen, the owner of Olympus Pools, now a co-owner of Olympus Pools, speaking with Shannon there at one of his properties. I believe that's the Lutz location, correct, Shannon?
It is. That is the headquarters, and it's my understanding that the other 2 locations, there was one in Lakeland and one in Lakewood Ranch, and they have now consolidated to the Lutz location. So
with it being consolidated to Lutz location, and when James spoke with Shannon, we knew that there were hundreds of pools that remained, 100 of pool orders that remained undone, or unfinished, rather, is the word I'm looking for. And James Staton made the promise to his customers that all 350-plus pools would be done by Christmas. So that's our poll question here, folks, here asking you, do you think, how confident are you? Are you confident that Olympus Pools can get through those 350-plus pool orders here by Christmas as promised by the ownership Let's get to the comments that are now just coming in here in the Facebook Live comment section. Cynthia was she was the first one here with that comment, and when we actually do have it paired with Facebook, we can bring it here onto our screen. Let's get that paired now, and there it is. Okay, Cynthia Miller, hashtag KJB. We were finally able to cancel our contract. We are with Wahoo Pools now. For the last 2 months, we have been signed and are dug and are waiting concrete. Thank God. So Cynthia here, a customer who going from Olympus Pools to maybe somebody across the street.
Good to hear your progress, Cynthia.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people had issues doing that, and I've talked to a lot of folks who were not so lucky to be able to get out of the contract. So probably good for you. Hopefully you'll be swimming soon.
Again, you can use hashtag HeyShannon. We'll also look for hashtag HJB, just one of those hashtags, and then we can feature your comment or your question here out of the Facebook Live comment section. Cliff here, hashtag HJB. I feel that Olympus Pools should be held, I think it's reliable, but I think what he means is liable for the non-payment. This shouldn't fall on the customers. Let's make this clear. This shouldn't fall on the customers. And also, we were talking a little bit earlier, Shannon, about the subcontractors here too. They just want to get paid for the work that was promised here. So we're between the three, the customers, the Olympus, of course, Olympus Pools, and the subcontractors. How does this all kind of shake down?
Well, the subcontractors are, as you mentioned, just trying to get paid. I mean, I spoke with one of them today. She's very, concerned about her customers. She's been reaching out to customers to let them know that this is in the pipeline and may happen to them very soon. They're just trying to get paid, and they're going by the Florida construction lien law, which requires them to put a lien on the home, which they've already done. We've reported on extensively. Other contractors have done this as well. And then now this is their next option. If they don't get paid after they put the lien on the home, which they say they haven't, then now they file this. And again, this is called a notice of intent to foreclose. So they're sending a warning letter, basically. It's not an official document. It's a warning letter. After that warning letter has been served to you, you have 45 days to pay or to have Olympus pay. If neither the homeowner nor Olympus pay, then the subcontractor can move forward to foreclose on that lien. And as we all know, foreclosure is a lawsuit. So it would be a foreclosure lawsuit filed against the homeowner.
I would imagine that there might be some lawsuits brewing here depending on how this unfolds over the next several weeks or into the next several months. And as a reminder here, folks, you can use hashtag KJB, hashtag HeyShannon. We'll get to your comments here. We see a lot of them now just coming in here in the last 60 seconds. But as a reminder, this isn't a foreclosure notice for Olympus Pools here, their location in Lutz in Pasco County. This is a foreclosure warning that is essentially going out to the customers here. So this is again, read all about it right now here on WFLA.com, the WFLA app. That's, if you're joining us on Facebook Live, you'll see the comment in the description on this video for the very latest. Let's get to some of the other questions that are coming in here, and we'll try to pick up the pace here, Shannon, to get to as many of these as possible. Neil, hashtag HJB, how can it be legal for someone to foreclose on a project with the work that hasn't been completed?
Well, that is the way that the construction law works in Florida. Subcontractors are able to place liens on the property when they haven't been paid. So even though the homeowner has paid a contractor, it doesn't matter. If that contractor does not give you a release of lien and they don't pay what they're supposed to pay to the subcontractor, the homeowner is liable because the homeowner has received that work, that service from the subcontractor. So this is the only way that the subcontractor can go about getting paid. And that's the way the law reads in Florida. The idea here is not to foreclose on the home, but to get payment. The subcontractor wants to get paid. So they're hoping that this pressure will pressure Olympus to come up with the money and pay what they owe. And when that happens, this foreclosure intent will go away. The lien will go away as well. Correction,
that's Hillsborough County, Lutz, Florida. I always think of Pasco County because I'm driving to family that I have in Land O'Lakes. I've driven past Olympus Pools many times. And of course, my first thought is I think of the Better Call Bank and investigations that we've had here on WFLA News Channel 8 over the last year. Yeah, they are in Lutz, but Lutz does straddle the line. Olympus is actually in Pasco County. Oh, then there you go. So I was correct there, and the correction was misplaced, apparently. Let's they are in Pasco. Yes. Michael Hamilton, hashtag HeyShannon. How will this end? Will James/Olympus be held responsible? How is this the homeowner's fault? This is this encapsulates what we're talking about pretty.
It absolutely does. And of course, it's not the homeowner's fault. It's just the way that Florida lien law works, and the homeowners are trapped in the middle here between Olympus and the subcontractors that want to get paid. As for how this will end, I wish I had a crystal ball to tell you how that's going to end. I mean, if you ask James at Olympus Pools, he'll tell you it's going to end by Christmas when he finishes all the pools. If you ask the customers, many of those customers don't believe that that's going to happen. They don't believe it can happen. But James and his PR firm that he's hired to help him through this matter, they still insist that he's going to be okay and he's going to finish all of this. I'm still waiting, though, to hear back from them as far as their comment on this story today.
Yeah, and we have hundreds of votes coming in here on our interactive poll asking folks just at home, people who have been following the story and been following Shannon's reporting, are you confident that Olympus Pools can complete 350 plus pools before Christmas as they promised when they talked to Shannon? We're gonna find out here what the poll results are here in just a second. Big thanks to Michael for that comment. We're catching up on some of the comments here. Carol, #KJB, wow, so unfair to all the customers. It sounds like this company has had several issues for some time. This is so unfair. If a lien is put on your home, you will not be able to sell without clearing out the debt. Shame on that company is the comment here from Carol. Some strong words here from Carol. How about Cynthia, #KJB, #KShannon. We got out of the contract, but haven't gotten our deposit back. We may talk to our credit card company. So Cynthia, 1 foot out the door, but not both feet really out the door with her situation. O'Neill Salmon, #KShannon. Are there specific areas of the Bay Area being affected? And as we see here, this is a perfect moment here looking at the board. We have pool orders that are yet to be completed really across the Tampa Bay area.
And it is really, I mean, we know that they operated in and still operate in Pasco, Hernando, Hillsborough, Polk, Manatee, and Sarasota. So any of those areas could be impacted by this. I know that several of the liens that have been filed already have been filed in Hillsborough County and Pasco County. I was looking at those records today. They're numerous in Hillsborough and Pasco. There's some in Polk too. So it could be in any of the areas where they worked. And again, you have to have already had the lien filed on your house in order for this next step to happen. So you're not going to receive this letter out of the blue if you haven't already received a lien on your property. And the first comment there mentioned a lien and how it's difficult to sell your house with that lien. It is. But keep in mind that this foreclosure is a lawsuit. It's taking it to the next level. It's going to be in the court system. You're going to have to, go through the court and fight that if it gets to that level. The hope again is that Olympus will see this as pressure to find the money and take care of this debt, to take care of this for these homeowners once and for all.
We're going to have some time here, everybody, with 8 on your sides. Shannon Bankin, of course, from Better Call Bankin that you see on WFLA News Channel 8. You can, of course, ask a question with #KShannon. I got my eyes here on the Facebook Live comment section. And next up, we have here Melissa, and this is a question we've seen time and time again, but maybe a brief response we can get here from Shannon, asking how does it happen that the homeowners are responsible for all of this? And really, it's a tough shake for the homeowners.
It is, and we've reported on this extensively, but for many folks that move to Florida, they ask that question, how in the world could this happen? But Florida's construction lien law allows that to happen. If a subcontractor is not paid for work they do at your house, even if you've already paid your contractor, unless you've gotten a release of lien from your contractor stating that their subcontractors have been paid, that subcontractor can come after you if your contractor fails to pay them. And they file the lien, and then you're responsible for paying off that lien. If you don't, then typically you can't sell your house until it's paid for, and when you do sell your house, you have to settle that debt before you can go forward. So that's the way the subcontractor has to try to get the money, and most people don't want liens on their houses, so if they can pay for it, then they do. In other cases, the companies that you have already paid, you call them upset, they want to keep staying in business, so they'll go ahead and pay that for you. That is the hope.
Yeah, and as a reminder here, everybody, Shannon, at every step throughout this saga that we've had here with Olympus Pools, has reached out to James Staton, to ownership, to get a comment, and we did reach out to them before the stream, but no response, right, Shannon, from the PR company, because now Olympus Pools and James Staton and the ownership there that at Olympus Pools, they have a PR firm handling all sort of inquiries, such as the ones that you would, of course, submit.
They do. They have a PR firm. It's run by a man named James Judge. I've been in contact with him, and he's been in contact with Mr. Staton. And there's also a co-owner that we reported on now, Jordan Hildago. And so Mr. Judge is reaching out to the ownership to find out what their statement is going to be on this. But he has told me that they did not know that this was coming, that this was kind of a shock to them. Obviously, they knew that they had these liens that are on properties. They know that they have these disputes with subcontractors, but they did not know that these letters were coming out until I called to inform them about that. So I would imagine they are spinning around trying to find out what's going on and what they can do about it. But the only thing that could stop this from happening is for them to pay the subcontractors what they owe.
Right. And again, the subcontractors just trying to get paid for the work that they were hired to do. Monique, #KJB, how can homeowners protect themselves from situations such as this? And Shannon, you're the perfect person to take this kind of question.
Yes. Well, as I mentioned with that Florida lien law, the only thing you can do when you hire a contractor is to get a release of lien, and you can do that with each payment. I always recommend that you never, ever pay for something like this, a pool, something major, up front. And a lot of these folks did. I've talked to people who've paid, $85,000 in full for pools because they were told that they would get a discount for doing so. So typically you pay 5 to 10% down on a major project, and you have a draw system that each time the contractor does something on your project, you pay for that portion. And each time you do that, you should request what's called, a release of lien to show that your contractor has already paid that subcontractor so that this doesn't happen to you later.
Let's, Shannon, what we'll try to do is try to get to as many of we'll kind of go rapid fire here and try to get to as many of these questions that are coming in here as possible. We got about another 5 or so minutes, I think, with Shannon Benkin here, everybody, of course, from Better Call Banking that you see on WFLA News Channel 8. Hey, thanks a lot, Monique, for your comment. And then after about 5 or so minutes with Shannon here, we'll get to our interactive poll results. And as you would expect, it's not a 50-50 split. Ashley Scott, #KJB. Some homeowners are expected to pay twice for an unfinished pool or lose their home, is the question here from Ashley, and it's like a can you believe it sort of question.
Yeah, and that is exactly what can happen here. If the homeowners don't pay or get Olympus to pay on their behalf, then they could have this problem with the foreclosure lawsuit. So obviously most people don't want to lose their house over $5,000. So that's the pressure that the subcontractor puts on, and the hope that the subcontractor has that if the contractor, the general contractor, in this case being Olympus Pools, doesn't pay, then that the homeowner will, because who wants to have a foreclosure filed against your house?
How about Mary here, #KJB. Isn't the subcontractor retained by Olympus? ? How is the homeowner responsible? I think there's just this disbelief amongst our viewers here on WFLA Now that the homeowners are having to foot this bill. As our previous commenter, Mary noted, Ashley noted twice.
Yes, a lot of people do find this very surprising, but yes, the subcontractor is hired by Olympus, and if you go through the system that I mentioned where you get the release of lien from the subcontractor, or from the contractor rather, each time you make your draw payment, then you won't have to worry about this. But the Florida lien law works in that if your subcontractor isn't paid, they can come after the homeowner for the service that was done at your house, and if the contractor doesn't pay them.
How about Sean here, #Shannon. I'm an Olympus customer with a lien from A&J Pavers. I'm in the middle of a refinance, and now due to that lien, I have to roll the money owed A&J into my refinance so that they get paid and I can get a lower interest rate. I have paid Olympus in full, and now I have to pay for decking for the next 30 years. This is quite a tale here from Sean, and this is. We're talking about the ripple effects that this sort of situation has with Olympus Pools.
Yes, and especially for someone like Sean that's financed it. Not only is he going to pay for his decking for the next 30 years, but now if he has that lien, he's in danger of receiving one of these letters, which means he would have to potentially pay A&J, if that's his company there, again for whatever they say that they haven't been paid by Olympus. So even though he's paid already, this can still happen. And it really hurts people that have financed their projects and people who have paid in full. Albert here,
#KJB. How does a letter of foreclosure intent on on a customer's home going to light a fire on Olympus to pay in 45 days? And I guess to Albert's point here, will this evolving situation force a light or a fire to be lit underneath Olympus Pools to actually get them to pay some of the subcontractors for this work?
Well, the notice of intent to file for foreclosure is a last-ditch effort from the subcontractor to get paid. So, I mean, you have to assume that these subcontractors have been speaking with Olympus Pools. They've been trying and hoping, and, you know, they didn't just file the lien one week and file this the next week. You know, this has been going on for months now. And again, this is a last-ditch effort. It's one last chance for Olympus to pay or for the homeowner to pay. But, you know, it's terrible to think that these homeowners could have to pay twice for something that they don't even have. I mean, these homeowners most of these homeowners cannot even swim in their pools yet. You see some of these pictures here. I'm continuing to get pictures every day from homeowners. They have mud pits in their backyards. And I will say, you know, Olympus, when we interviewed them last, it's been about 2 weeks ago, they gave us a status report, and they talk about pools that they've closed and permits that they've closed out. It's not as if they're not doing anything. They are doing work, but we have hundreds of pools to go. And when you have these disagreements with subcontractors, there's a problem of getting people to come out and work, especially when you hear that other subcontractors are having to file for foreclosure because they haven't been paid. So it's this very difficult situation of getting, you know, the money flowing in so that they can continue to work to get the pools done.
Thinking about all those homeowners that over the course of the pandemic were home a lot. A lot of us, of course, home quite a bit during the pandemic when we were just kind of staying at home rather than going out more, and to look in your backyard and just see an unfinished pool with very little light at the end of the tunnel, if any, based on, of course, all the reporting that Shannon's been doing. It's just this has been a frustrating road for a lot of these customers. Sarah Weed here, #Hey Shannon. They're still reaching out to us asking when we are ready to get started. It's like they're looking for money. No wonder why. Are you hearing other similar sort of stories like this one?
We are hearing that, Sarah, because the issue is they are not taking on new business. Since we broke this story back in March, early April, they said that they're not going to take on any new business. They haven't sold new contracts, but the problem is they had already sold so many that they hadn't started. Those are what's essentially the new ones. So people had put down a deposit to hold the contract, but there's no hole in the yard yet. They haven't started. So when they come out to start digging, they get the first draw. If you finance, you have that draw system I was speaking of. So each time they do something on that draw system, you pay. So if they come out and dig your hole, then you have to pay them money. That's the only way, really, that they can get money coming in right now, is to do that. If they don't do that and they're not selling any more pools, they don't have fresh money coming in. The problem is if they come out and they dig your hole, and we know that they have 300 and some pools to finish, then you're going to go to the back of that list. So you'll be waiting a long time potentially for them to come back and finish the pool.
Just three more here, everybody. Antoinette Peace Thornton, #Hey WFLA, Shannon Bankin. Olympus continues to lie to customers. I haven't seen them for 5 months. They want answers to phone calls or texts, I'm sorry, I think that's what I'm supposed to say. They won't answer phone calls or text or email. We've talked at great length in previous streams with Shannon about the communication breakdown that there's been between Olympus and the customers, and why that PR firm was kind of handled to help alleviate some of that communication fallout. Allison here, #KJB. Happened to my uncle in Missouri. It wasn't a pool situation, it was something else, but he paid it off before he died, so my aunt wouldn't have to deal with it when she sold the house. So somebody else joining us here from elsewhere, commenting that this isn't a situation that's unique to the state of Florida. And then Trish here, the last question that we're going to take, and then our poll results. Stick around for our poll results because they're interesting, as you would expect. Trish Shaw asking, #KJB, how far back do these contracts date to?
That's a good question, Trish. I mean, we've spoken to some people that are right now at the 1 year mark. So these are folks that signed last year in the height of the pandemic. As JB mentioned, you know, people are sitting at home, working from home, looking out in their yard. They have kids that were doing homeschool perhaps, and they wanted pools. Now here we are coming up on, we are in the middle of a second summer here, and they still don't have a pool. So some of these contracts, though, are a lot fresher because they've been selling all the way through, but I have spoken to people that signed over a year ago.
Again, our Facebook Live interactive poll here, everybody. Thanks to Trish and all of our commenters here for using hashtag HeyShannon, hashtag AJB. Let's get to those Facebook Live interactive poll results we received in the neighborhood of 400 to 500 votes, and we asked, are you confident? And remember, this goes back now to when Shannon's reporting the story and speaking to James Staton in person at the Lutz location, asking about the unfinished pool orders that they had, and that total reaching more than 350 unfinished pools in the Tampa Bay area. So we asked you in our interactive poll, are you confident that Olympus Pools can complete 350 plus pools before Christmas as they promised? And 92%, a whopping 92% of customers say no, they're not confident. And really, if you think about it, 350 pools between now and Christmas, that is a staggering amount. That's, I believe, about 2 a day. Roughly, if my math is correct, I'm somewhat good at math, Shannon, somewhat good at basic math, and I believe that that's 2 per day between now and Christmas. That's a staggering ask and perhaps an insurmountable task for Olympus Pools. But your
keep in mind that 350, JB, is a conservative number that I gave you to make sure that we're conservative here. It's more than the 350.
It could be even more. It could be well above 350.
Yeah, because we have the pools that need to be finished, but then we have the pools like, I think it was Shauna that mentioned that, her pool hasn't been started yet. That's included in that number. So there's a lot of folks that have paid to have the pool, nothing's happened yet. They're included in that. When he says finish all the pools, he means all of the pools.
Let's end out this stream by trying to be glass half full type of people here. Let's just kind of come to the conclusion that 350, 400 plus, whatever it is, however many pools that they have, those orders that remain unfinished, that getting that done by Christmas at this point might be impossible. Maybe they get half of that amount done. Is there any hope really for Olympus Pools to, and this is not a pun here that's intended, but dig themselves out of this disaster that they've kind of found themselves in here as far as getting all of these work orders done across the Tampa Bay area?
Well, what I can tell you is that the ownership of Olympus Pools and their PR firm tell me that they are going to finish all of this. They say that they're very hopeful that they're going to. I just spoke with them in person a couple weeks ago, and that's when they mentioned this by Christmas deadline of having all the pools. They say that they're optimistic that they will be able to do that. They do continue to update their Facebook page on the progress that they have made. But I can also tell you that I'm hearing from very frustrated homeowners that many of these folks have decided, in the beginning when we started reporting on this and when the new partner came on board, they were going to sit back, stop complaining, give them some time to get things done. But now, weeks, months have gone by. Some people tell me, as we mentioned some of the people here that we've read the comments from, they haven't seen anybody show up. They can't get in touch with project managers. And, they're very angry, frustrated, worried. People have their life savings tied up in this. And I can also tell you, that law enforcement is continuing to investigate. A lot of people have been asking, in our questions here, why is the state not stepping in? Why is something not being done? I can tell you that there are very active investigations, but, the hope from everybody involved in investigating this, including from myself, is that they would be able to turn this around. No one wants to see a business go under, and no one wants these pools left unfinished all over the Tampa Bay area. So the hope is that they will, but it's not looking good, and people are very frustrated.
Yeah, and we can, try to be as optimistic as possible here that they're going to get this work done and hopefully, pay these subcontractors, and these foreclosure notices were just warnings and warnings that never actually led to any action. But again, if you look backwards here, if history is any indication, things regarding Olympus Pools right now are not looking too promising as far as the immediate future, what lies between now and Christmas. Everybody, 8 on your side, Shannon Benkin. You see her on WFLA News Channel 8. Better call Benkin. She's been reporting on this story really over the last year. I'm trying to remember exactly when the first story was, Shannon, when we first started talking talking Olympus Pools?
Well, it hasn't been quite a year.
It's
been. I started hearing problems February, March, and as a consumer investigative reporter, you can imagine we hear from a lot of people about a lot of businesses.
Yep.
So when it was a couple here and there, they were on my radar screen. I was watching, but when it started to become a couple of complaints an hour in some cases, the file on my desk got really, really thick, JB, and I was like, we have to look into this. Once we did that first story, we were just flooded with more people, and every day I'm continuing to hear from these customers, and we're continuing to fight for accountability, for answers, and for action for everyone.
Yeah, and Shannon fighting for all those customers here, everybody who are looking out, as we mentioned, looking out in their backyard like here and seeing unfinished pool projects promised by Olympus Pools. We'll continue to keep you updated here, everybody, on WFLA.com and the WFLA app. All of Shannon's reporting on Olympus Pools and the entire saga is there for you on WFLA.com and the WFLA app. And we'll have more here in the days, weeks, months ahead as we continue to follow what happens with Olympus Pools and all the unfinished pool projects here in the Tampa Bay area. That does it for us here on WFLA Now. More ahead on WFLA.com and the WFLA app.